That was part A. Part B is going to look pretty much the same, but now sometimes they're going to get answers that maybe are more than 100% or might have percentages that are more than 100%, but they pretty much are exactly the same thing we just got doing. Our answers just might not be as pretty. Applying the percent equation problem type 2 are going to be very similar to what we did for type 1, except now we're going to have decimals in there and a little more complicated expressions. Again, we want to keep in mind that we're taking what percent of times the base equals the part. And if we have a percent, we have to change it to a decimal when we work that out. So translating 8.82 is equals 52.5%. As a decimal, we move our decimal back 2 places. So 0.525 of means times what number? I'm going to use n for what number? In order to solve this for n, I've got to move this to the other side. So since this is multiplying, I have to divide by my 5.25. And I'm going to go ahead and just do that on the calculator. So if I have 8.82 divided by 0.525, I get 16.8. 16.8. So 52.5% of 16.8 is 8.82. 52% is about 50%, so about half of 16 would be 8. Yep, that looks pretty good. The next one. What is? So, they like to use W on the previous ones. W equals 115%. 115% as a decimal, I have to move that 2 places back, would be 1.15 of times 73.8. So in this case, I'm just going to multiply those 2 numbers together. 1.15 times 73.8. 1.15 times 73.8 gives me 84.87. So 84.87 is 115% of 73. 100% would be equal to 73. Since this is more than 100%, this is going to be more than our 73. So that would make sense that we got 84.87. Number 11. 7.38 is 7.5% of what number? So 7.38 is equals 7.5%. I have to move my decimal back 2 places. Think about what 7% is. 7% is 0.07. So I'm going to get 0.075 when I move that back 2 places. Of what number? And so again on this one, we're just going to solve it by dividing. So I'm going to divide by 0.075. 7.38 divided by 0.075 gives me 98.4. Right? 7% isn't a very big part. The next one, it says 127.5 equals what percent of 51? Of means times. So again, to solve that to get the percent by itself, since this is times, I'm going to end up dividing by that 51. 127.5 divided by 51 gives me the decimal 2.5. 2.5 is what percent? I still need to change my percent or my decimal into a percent, so I have to multiply it by 100. 2.5 times 100 gives me 250%. Right? 200% would be twice as big as that. And we have 250%, so it's more than twice as big as that. So whenever I ask what percent I get this value, I still have to multiply it by 100 to change it to the percent. Number 12, what is 75% of 32.2? So what is 75%? 75%, 0.75 of 32.2. That one's not too bad. 75% is 0.75. Again, these are on the same side. We're just going to multiply. So 0.75 times 32.2 gives me 24.15. And the last one on there, 55.04, is what percent of 21.5? So 55.04 is what percent of 21.5? I want to solve that for the percent. This is times. When I move it over, I have to divide by the 21.5. So 55.04 divided by 21.5 gives me 2.56. 2.56 is what percent? Again, like on that previous one on number 11 that asked what percent, this is a decimal equivalent. What percent is 2.56 equal to? 2.56 times 100 is 256%. Again, 200% would be double that. That's more than twice that. So we know that that answer seems accurate if I think about common things, what 100% is, 200% is, and so forth. All right.